All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Men in Black and White, an honest conversation. And we are today talking about ICE. The kidnappings continue. We are talking about, just what happened. How the hell did people vote for this kind of calamity? And we are also talking about the looming shutdown because on October 1st at 12:01, all the government funding will run out. And that will shut down the government, including a lot of services that people may not realize will get shut down when this happens. So, the Republicans are not at all concerned about it. You know why? Because they don't want the Epstein files released. When push comes to shove, it's all about the Epstein files. Brock, I believe I told you. Brock Ganeles joins me now live from the beautiful confines of the Hudson River Valley, just north of New York City. And Brock, I believe I told you the Epstein files weren't going away. I told you this was do or die for Kanks McTaco Tits, also affectionately known as Donald Trump. Brock, I told you this shit wasn't going away. The Epstein files are disgusting. We just heard that Elon Musk is in them. Even more reason not to let them out now. And many people have their conspiracy theories that they're floating, that Charlie Kirk was possibly, a diversion from the Epstein files, or a possible scare tactic to the Epstein victims to say, don't you dare release a list of names that you all know. But nonetheless, I told you this wasn't going away. I told you this was his kryptonite. And I'm telling you, America, you fucked up when you put this guy in office. What say you?
Okay, so obviously Johnson shuts down, sends everyone home for most of August. They come back for a couple of days. Massey and Ro Khanna don't quite have the votes. So then now we get the special election in Arizona. Democrat wins that. It's another vote for releasing the files. So now it looks like if it actually came to the floor, the vote would be to release the files. So your thesis is that Johnson is in cahoots with Trump, and they literally are going to just let the government shut down so that there can't even be a discussion of this vote now, because even the discussion would start and stir up a lot of trouble for Trump, right? Because now it's like, Why are you blocking it? Why are you blocking it? Okay. I mean, look, Trump will do anything to avoid this negativity, right? So
And accountability.
okay, so we won't open it up. So so we'll be shutting down VA hospitals. People won't be getting Social Security checks. We're going to be laying off a whole ton more workers, and we'll just have a less functioning society yet again. And I'm sure the Project 2025 machine is already figuring out how they're going to strip away more things they wanted to get rid of anyway while no one's around.
Yep.
And second of all, figuring out probably how long they can go without reopening government.
Right.
And, figuring out what the proper messaging is to pin it on the Democrats.
Right.
And they'll probably figure that shit out.
Right. And here's the thing. The Democrats have no idea how to respond. They don't even have an end game right now. Chuck Schumer has a tersely worded letter that's going to go out any day now. It's not going to move the needle. Nobody's going to read it because you're dealing with idiots. So why are you writing them letters? Why are you asking for concessions? Demand them. Take it to the people.
Yeah.
This statesmanship, this bandying about, this negotiation, these blockheads don't understand that. They don't want any part of diplomacy. They don't want any part of negotiating, of governing. They're in it for the racism, the brutality, and the money. Take it to the people. Stop taking your argument to MAGA Mike Johnson because he has a nice suit on and he has a really good hairstylist doesn't mean he's an intelligent individual. He's all about the brutality too. He's all about the racism too. Racists get nice suits too. Fuck him. Stop talking to him and talk to the people.
I think it's a good idea. If they just came out with 5 points and said, hey, do these 5 things and we'll vote to keep the government open. But you got to bring back the Medicare, you got to bring back the Medicaid, you got to bring back some Department of Education. Like, pick 5 things that you want back and say to people, yeah, we get these 5 things, let's open it back up. Otherwise, flip the message over and say, you know what? The Republicans are so destroying the country while they're governing, they'll shut it down. They'll do less damage if we shut it down. So, pin them into some sort of corner where they truly own this mess. And or just say, we all know the only reason they're shutting it down is because they don't want to vote on the Epstein files, or just make it about the Epstein files. There's like 3 different ways to play it, and actually the Democrats could play all 3 of those cards and figure out which one sticks the best. Play the Trump game. Do the way Trump does. Throw all 3 of them out there, see which one catches the most fire, and run with it.
Brock, how come a couple of yahoos from Peekskill can figure this out, but the DNC brass is sitting there twiddling their thumbs? Chuck Schumer's got his constituents up there in New York saying, hey, Chuck, it's time for you to get the fuck out, right? It's time for you to go because you're not meeting the moment. Hakeem Jeffries seems like he's just about in over his head. He's not meeting the moment. So, look, bro.
Let me jump in and answer the question. I think because there's still, amazingly to us, still some people in the government who think that there's processes that matter and rules and procedures and ways to play this because it's always has been that way. Like, it hasn't hit them over the head yet that Donald Trump has changed every element of that. Or they don't want too much disruption because they like the seat that they're in, running shit, and therefore, if everything's kind of blown up, it's risky and they may lose this great jobs that they've been fighting their whole careers for, so there's a selfishness aspect to it. Because other than those 2 things, I don't see why, we're not geniuses, right? We're just looking at what seems to be an obvious way to play the hand that's been dealt. It's right? Right? It's like you get 2 aces at the blackjack table. You go, oh, we're going to split the aces. Yeah, it's pretty fucking obvious. Split the aces, right? The Dems, let's go. Like, you have a great hand in front of you. Like, play the fucking hand.
Yeah. I mean, again, I don't understand not taking it to the people, right? Because the people will hold them accountable. The people will make them pay. And that's the goal here. We got to get this guy literally out of the office. We cannot have this clown, right, in charge, right? Because what does he do? He'll just write executive orders if he can't get legislation passed, right? I mean, we've seen it for 9 months now. 10 months. We're going on 10 months. Now we're going on a government shutdown. And let me tell you something, Brock. I don't think it's going to be a shorty. I don't think it's going to be a quick one, because as long as the government is shut down, the Republicans don't have to answer questions about the Epstein file. We don't have to learn which prominent lawmakers are on the list, and there may be some Democrats on there as well. But you know what? It sounds like the Republicans have a lot more to hide. Just looking at it from the outside. I mean, that's what it looks like.
And they're the only ones that can hide it because they're in charge. They have it in their possession.
Right. If it was full of Democrats, they would have been let that thing go.
Yeah.
It would have been out there. So, I'm disgusted by the lack. Again, what are our three pillars here? Leadership, messaging. I mean, those 2 points alone.
Still no leadership, still no message.
Still no leadership, still no message.
And therefore, still no unity.
And still no unity. Right? Like, what is it going to take to
After 9 months.
After 9 months. 9 months of pure hell. Of making lives miserable. 300,000 Black families. Black women out of jobs. That's 300,000 families affected. Black women have families too. That's a paycheck that's not coming into an African American household, at least a partly African American household. I mean, Our Latino brothers and sisters, where are you? Where are you in the unification talks with the African American community? Our Asian brothers and sisters, where are you in your unification talks with white America, black America, and brown America? Why are the leaders of these communities not somewhere breaking bread, strategizing, and trying to come up with a unified message that beats down white supremacy? We can get the spicy whites with us. We can get the Brock Ganeleses, right? All the folks, the Dan Goldmans, all the folks that, the Rachel Maddow, all the folks that want a fair, just America. Nobody is asking for handouts. That's the thing that kills me with white supremacy, is they'll look at a black or brown person square in the face and say, you know what? Nobody gave me anything. Why do you get stuff? If I had known about this DEI thing where you just apply for jobs, and even if you're not qualified because you're brown or black, you're going to get that job, I'd have been applying for brain surgeon jobs.
I know, and it's such bullshit. Of course they were given shit, right? Either they're wealthy enough to go to private schools or they went to really good public schools, right?
Exactly.
Just from the get-go. Like, they had, great advantages in this country. But beyond that, yes, I call it like sane white America, of course, is around. Mark, I actually believe there's some rural white America that will come around. Because they're so fucking beaten down right now. I mean, I saw a whole series of clips about all these rural white Americans on a podcast hosted by a black guy, all saying how shocked they are that they're losing their health care. And they're just losing it left and right. They're losing their hospitals. They're losing their health care. Now, this host, I felt, was too gentle with them, saying like they didn't know what they were voting for. And like, I'm kind of like, I just think that's bullshit. There's just some basic things in your life that you kind of know how you get them. Right? There's a school. You know where you go get your gas. You've been going to doctors your whole life. Like, you knew that there was some form of payment that went to that doctor. Right? You didn't just show up and then go home. So like, I just think there's a certain element of bullshit to that they didn't understand what was happening. I think they just made a choice that they realized now was a bad choice. I think they're actually gettable because they're hurting so much that I think they will actually put their racism to the side. I don't know if they'll put it away forever, but I think they will put it to the side.
Hey, Brock, when these heavy-duty machines start getting repossessed, they repossess tractors too. They repossess large farm equipment too. They repossess the shit that allows you to make a living too. You may not have known that before, but you're about to find out, right? These farmers literally need a fucking bailout at this point.
Yeah, they're probably going to get
billions of dollars of soybeans.
Okay, so we bailed out Argentina, who's actually selling soybeans to China, and now we got to bail out the farmers who aren't selling soybeans to China because China's buying them from Brazil and Argentina, but Argentina still needs a bailout because their leader sucks. Okay, so farmers are going to get another bailout. Are they still going to run around in TikTok bitching about the fact that black people get handouts? Because this is going to be their second fucking bailout in a decade. It's like every time Trump comes around, they get another fucking bailout. They don't even need to have a business, right? They just get checks cut to them. And they're bitching that other people in society are getting it too easy.
Right.
I mean, come the fuck on.
Make it make sense. Come on. And it's funny too. I watch. You watch Texas Paul on YouTube? His clips are great. Old country boy, older gentleman from Texas with the
white beard. Yeah, white beard. Actually, I just came across him a week ago. I've seen a couple of his clips.
Great stuff. Great stuff. Level-headed. A good human being. Like I want to be Texas Paul's friend, right? I want to sit on the porch, drink lemonade, and share stories with him, right? Because he's so level-headed. And this is a guy living in Texas, calling out the bullshit like he sees it, and wonders what's wrong with our society, that we can't treat other human beings like human beings. Man, I saw a video today of a Karen that misinterpreted the language an African American young man was using in Charleston in like a CVS or a Walgreens or something. So Karen calls the police come, they beat the shit out of a minor while the crowd is standing there saying he didn't do anything. And the Karen told police that he was threatening her with a knife. By the time it was all said and done, they had 3 officers. It looked very George Floydish. They were mashing his head into the concrete. He's screaming, calling for his mother. They're trying to get his mother's phone number so they can call his mom. And this is in broad daylight in Charleston, South Carolina. So, it's about the brutality. And Texas Paul is saying to people, hey, why can't we treat each other like human beings? Why can't we be nice to our neighbor? Like, what if you don't understand? If you don't have any black people in your phone as a white man, you need to get some, right? Because this will give you some understanding into what Black America. Brock, I can't tell you how many hours I've spent with some guys that we went to high school with, that I tried to explain what it's like to be black in America. You know what? One of them was even with me when I went up to Route 6. And another one of our friends, I think I've told you this story before, but he said, hey, do you got any friends that need, are looking for work? He said, yeah, I do. He said, I knew 2 guys, right, to work in the produce aisle at Wall Bombs. Remember the Wall Bombs on Route 6 across from Isidora's up there by the mall, the old Mohegan Mall? And I went up to the Wall Bombs. I said, Donnie, let me go in first. I go in first. Guy looks me dead in the face and says, we don't have any jobs open. We swing out. I said, Donnie, I didn't get the job. He says he has no job openings. How about we go over to McDonald's, get some breakfast, and then you come back and apply. Donnie goes in, gets hired on the spot. He comes out to the car. I walk in. I said, I thought you had no jobs. It's not me. It's not me. I'm just doing what I'm told.
Doing what I'm told. The great. Just like those guys who were beating up that kid in that CVS in Charleston, right? Just doing as they're told.
Doing what we're told.
And
here's the point, though. Donnie saw it. He saw it and still didn't get it, right? He didn't get it.
That's kind of a willful ignorance, right? Because that's making a decision to not want to acknowledge it.
And that's my point.
I got a produce job at the shop right down the street by the Dunkin' Donuts. A different grocery store, same road, similar job. Produce job's one of the better jobs in the grocery store, by the way.
No doubt.
Yeah, that aisle's kind of cool and air conditioning. You go in the back, it's got a freezer. It's much better than like stacking cans and some of the other jobs people get.
Perfect in the summer. But nonetheless, that was one of those stores where when I called my parents and told them what happened, they said, well, why did you go there to apply for a job? I said, my friend told us they were looking for two of his friends. He said, you got any guys that need work? He said, my parents said to me, but Mark, you've never seen any black people working there. My parents said that to me. And they thought that I was, because I was a senior in high school. I'm just looking for some cash to take to college with me. I didn't, want to make a living there. I just wanted to work there for 6, 8, 10 weeks at the most.
But there's an element of denial amongst people, and there's a big element of like white people not wanting black people to do well, right? Like, so they don't want to give the job to a black person, right? Beyond maybe also, feeling uncomfortable around people of a different color, like all the elements that go into it. But we're going to have to peel these things back to move forward. If there's any silver lining that comes out of the Trump era, and wow, it's going to be hard to fucking find. If we actually ever get out of the Trump era, or if we're alive when this Trump era ends, because maybe it extends beyond him into this whole MAGA movement and white supremacy and all this shit. Project 2025. Believe me, that's what they're thinking, right? They think they flipped this whole country on its ear. But let's say they don't, and the pendulum swings back. In the swinging back of the pendulum, like, we're going to have a of the entire American society and the way the institutions and systems work. And we're going to have to come to a racial reckoning, because it may be the only way out. And it's maybe why we haven't unified is because not enough white people are willing to jump in the pool with the blacks and Latinos and say, okay, We're
Yeah.
all in this pool together. Like they just feel like they still can sit in their beach chair, right? And still just be nice and comfortable over there and not yet feel like they have to band together with the others to win this fight. And that's where the left has missed the mark on. No one has been able to deliver the message of we're all in this together. And when we say we, here's what we mean by we, and no one's connected on that yet. That's where the oligarch message doesn't quite connect, right? Because it's not just about economics. Like, it hasn't connected on the we means actually a white person, a black person, an Asian person, and a Latino at the table.
Right. Riddle me this. Why does no one say anything about Clarence Thomas and his interracial marriage? Right? Why are we not talking about AOC and her interracial marriage? Like, why don't we talk about the 800-pound gorilla in the room? Like Kamala Harris. Why didn't she talk more about it? Right? And her blended, here is an African, Afro-Asian, call her whatever you want. She identified with the black community for many, many years. Matter of fact, you know what? If you got a little bit of black blood in you, you black in America.
Yeah, in this
Right?
country, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. See Homer, what is it, Plessy v. Ferguson? Whatever the civil rights case was that went to the Supreme Court. And it was the opportunity for us to say and point out there's not much that separates you and I except skin color. We bleed red, right? When we were kids, we loved or we hated what? The end of recess, broccoli, plain rice, right? We hated the same things, and we would have played together all day until somebody came along and started teaching their kids, don't play with those, don't play with those, you shouldn't be around those.
Yeah, that kid's a
You
problem.
can't
Yeah.
date him, right? You can't date her. And that's it's a learned behavior. And
Well,
that's the issue.
would America have rallied behind Jimmy Kimmel if he was a black guy?
No, sir.
No, it's fine. He could be.
Sir. No, because a black guy's not going to be in that position. We don't have a black guy with a fort. We had Arsenio Hall.
Could have been Trevor Noah when he had some.
Could have been.
Could have been.
Could have been.
I was just more curious. Actually, a woman's never been in that position either, right? Like, I mean,
No.
that late night has been like a white guy haven.
For as long
Yeah,
as
just curious. Yeah.
for as long as we've had television, right? Bryant Gumbel couldn't even succeed on the evening news as a white. Lester Holt has been the trailblazer, the one brown face that had any staying power.
It's kind of amazing when 50% of the country is people of color, right? I mean, that the change has been change has certainly not kept up with the demographic change, and that's the white America pushback.
Nice.
All right, we're going to need this reckoning coming out of this. Atrocities are stacking up, though, right? ICE is being sent to Portland now to, quote, protect the ICE facility. I hadn't even heard about anything going on in Portland. But
In years.
he backed away from Chicago. There was some talk of Memphis. I don't know if troops ever
Haven't heard
went into
anything about
Memphis.
Memphis.
Then there was a lot of talk about Louisiana. Like, there's been a lot of chatter, but I guess they're going to send troops to Portland. And it's going to be like a fucking waste of time. There's nothing going on out there, right? I mean, people running around the Nike campus, like what are we even talking about?
They're out there saving trees in Portland, bro. They're a bunch of environmentalists, right?
I
mean, look, when we think of cities with issues, we don't think of Portland. Portland is definitely not, but because they lean left, right? That's why they're going there.
They lean left.
Right? And that's the issue, right? A bunch of Bill Waltons out there, right? And to put it in sports, but ICE is continuing to disappear people. Did you see the vicious attack that was put on the woman whose family was ripped apart when they took the father, and then the family ran to Dan Goldman's office seeking refuge late this week? It happened, I think, either Thursday or Friday. Brock, you've got to look this clip up. It is horrific what this ICE agent does to this woman. He slams her up against the wall. She falls down. Are you surprised that this woman is scared to death that you're disappearing her husband and you won't give her any information? And you know where it happened? Right outside one of those ICE courtrooms. One of those immigration courtrooms where they take away, your case, right? They dismiss your case, and so now you're here illegally. Right? It's all a game being played by the Trump administration. And the game is to brutalize black and brown families. Right? There was a guy in Dallas. Did you hear about the guy in Dallas? 30 years he's been a resident in Dallas, fighting for a green card for years. Did the largest Boy Scout troop in Metro Dallas. First responder, disaster relief. And this guy, they snatched him, and he's been here in the U.S., in Texas, for 30 years as a part of the community. I mean, come on, bro. Like, how much are we going to stand for? Now, we're going to start taking stuff from white people in a few days, right? Services that they need that are provided by the government normally. Is that going to be enough to rile people up? Because they're probably not going to start canceling flights. You know that. Because too many white Americans have to get around the country. So they're not going to take away that. But you may see some slowing at airports, right?
We're definitely
air traffic control, and we're already down numbers for air traffic controllers.
If it hurts the economy, then Trump will hear about it. If it's just people, then it'll never get to him. Will it rile up enough white people because they lose services, all the services that they don't like to admit that government provides to them because they always pretend like it's only the others that get the services? Will there be enough chirping from the white community to put pressure on Johnson and crew to come to some compromise with Dems and give up some concessions to reopen government versus the Epstein files? I don't know. It's going to have to be really loud. It's going to have to be pretty overwhelming unless somehow Johnson's able to reopen government and still keep a lid on the Epstein files. It just gets harder and harder.
Yep. It's frightening. That deviant sex predators are being protected at the cost of human lives, family fortunes, family welfare, right? And this is not the America we sign up for.
It's way in decline. It's only 9 months. We're so far in decline, but we're getting to the point where the American citizens, especially after that UN fucking debacle, like, the world is looking at us, me, you, and the other American citizens, and they're wondering why we have not done anything. Why we're letting this happen to our great nation, because they all thought it was a great nation.
Right.
And they saw Trump 1.0, and they thought that was fucking foolish. But they thought we course corrected, right?
Right.
We thought we fixed shit, and that was a blip.
And Brock, you know what else they thought? They thought that we wanted this. The rest of the world thinks we put him back in power because we wanted this. Right? The rest of the world, I just don't think that they're as in tune as they could be because, we're living it. So we're like, how'd this fucking guy win? Right?
We look like we want it, though. We look like we want it because we haven't had mass protests. They haven't seen us do anything. They see what's happened in other countries, right? They watched Ukraine when they thought their leader was corrupt. They overthrew it. They watched that fucking huge, what's going on in Belarus and the Georgian states and the LGBTQ rally in Hungary. Like, they've seen mass protests. And they haven't seen us do it. I guess we get a mulligan, our 6th mulligan of the round on October 14th or 20th with that next No King's Day. It has to be off the charts. It has to be off the charts massive. It has to shock the world. It has to shock Trump, certainly. It has to send a message to the world that America's finally fed up.
Yeah, I think tomorrow we ought to focus on that, and we ought to shift our attention to getting people to DC and moving the needle on Trump, punching Trump in the face. Again, you know, the only way to beat a bully is to hit him first, you know, and hope he goes down. And we know Trump can't take a punch. We know he can't take a punch. You know, whenever I get a little bit down about the state of, America, I watch the Donald Trump chump roast where Barack let him have it, and then Seth Meyers got up there and just skewered him. It's a beautiful thing, and I think we better watch it before they take it down. Right? Who knows if YouTube's in their pocket? Right? We got to watch it before we take it down. And
Let's
it's go ahead.
let's focus on it tomorrow because we got to figure out this is where the leadership failure is glaring because no one's really the dates on the calendar and the indivisible group and the grassroots groups are doing their job. They're going to get a ton of people out there. But the problem is who's really riling up and inspiring that lazy American, complacent America who hasn't been out there yet to get out there so the numbers are overwhelming. And I don't see anyone that's really moving the needle on that front. No one's inspiring and, leading the opposition, right?
Absolutely.
It's a missing piece of the puzzle.
All right, you got a quick hit for me before we get out of here?
A couple big tornadoes are coming and gathering at some significant wind speeds, and already some chirping coming out of our weather services that they don't have the staffing and the technology. Sorry about that, and they don't feel like they're on top of shit. So this might be the first of the scary moments where people are blindsided. Don't want it to happen, but it had to happen. It had to happen.
Hurricanes are coming.
They're coming.
Right? I don't know if we're going to drop a bomb on them, right? To destroy. I mean, I don't know. Maybe we'll just pull out our magic marker and send them in a different direction. But think about this, Brock. We could have those hurricanes hitting the East Coast sometime this week and the government shutting down. I mean, I don't know that FEMA is working or what they're doing.
Yeah.
But we could have a government shutdown and no FEMA, no disaster response.
Yeah, it might be hitting right on the same day. So right. We got that to look forward to.
Yay.
All right, Mark. We're going to talk resistance tomorrow. Okay, it's a good plan.
All right, buddy.
All right, Mark. Always a pleasure.
Peace.
Bye. Sorry about that. I didn't realize my